My impressions, well, my impressions are that Tim Bogart and the coaching staff did a fabulous job of executing a plan for the pitchers and the catchers, and I think from my observation and everything that they reported back, it went okay, went real well.
Well, you seem to be going from field to field to field. What kind of things do you try to do here in these first couple of days as far as working with the pitchers, talking to the pitchers, and some of the things you're trying to...
Just getting to know people. You know, there's something different going on in every field. You know, it's a different fundamental, and so we're jotting down strengths and weaknesses, figuring out how we have to continue the workouts, and I like to see guys. You know, when someone tells me about a guy's backhand, I want to kind of know what he means, and when he tells me about something on his pickoff, I want to know what he means. So if I say something to him, I'm reinforcing what they're saying. You know, he hears it in stereo.
Bobby, is part of that being new, or were you just active with the Mets and the Rangers team?
I'm not good at compare. You know,
Was that the way you've always done it?
that's the way I always done it. I just like to, you know, see it and feel it, and a lot of times, you know, I think with the Mets, I know with the Mets, you know, there was a tower at times where you could kind of make a shorter walk around and see a lot of stuff that's going on. In Japan, there were 3 fields, so there weren't 6, so it was a little easier walk.
Yeah. Bobby, 2 times you were in bold, you were using the flip cams, you know, during drills. What does that help you with?
All the guys have flip cams, and you know, we're just going to try to see if we're planning our work, if we're working our plan. You know, specifically, some of the stuff I guess was for timing. You know, I want to see if we're going to practice something. I like to have it as close to game real as possible. Otherwise, you know, why bother? So, you know, we're looking at timing, like when the ball's coming off the bat and where the pitcher is in his throwing motion to simulate where he will be in a game. I'm not sure what other little things were. We had some moves that we have cataloged. It's just to see it, you know, see it again, see it in slow motion if we want to, you know, once you get it on the camera.
Last year, the pitching defense was a bit spotty at times. Are you going to try to improve that aspect?
John, I like our pitching and our defense to improve. Absolutely, I like to have our pitching defense improve. You know, now, we struck out a lot of guys and we threw a lot of fly balls. So, you know, some of the statistics on our team aren't fair. Where you might see we're last in a lot of categories, but that's because we were last in a lot of categories, I guess. Yeah, we weren't really good at a lot of stuff other than pitching the ball, I guess, and hopefully we can improve on that. Might win a game or 2.
Those video clips in the clubhouse of pitchers fielding, where did that come from? That you're running on the TV. Where does that idea come from? Where did you sort of want
Well, just what I try to do is I try to put here a little reinforcement of what we're going to do out here. So that's Billy. Billy's been working all winter, the poor guy, and he's done a great job of, you know, of doing things that we're going to do. And we're going to, you know, when we get relays, we'll have relays, and when we get rundowns, we'll have rundowns. Just so there's a little visual, mental reinforcement of what we're going to try to do out here.
Is that something you tell the guys to look out for, or do you just expect?
It's an ambient thing, huh? Yeah, we're not going to have a classroom and say, "See that?" But they were looking at it, and you know, it's cool, I guess. Just get them back in the swing.
Bobby,
Sean?
what's the thought behind having pitchers take swings this early?
The thought was that I felt the American League lost the World Championship because they didn't have a slash play. And when there was men on first and second in Game 6, and the Cardinals put the wheel play on, and they were standing in the batter's box, and the bunt went foul, that if that was a slash, they call off the bunt, the wheel play. They move one guy over, it becomes second and third, and the Rangers are the world champions. And I think these guys want to be the world champions. And so I just thought if they can work on a fundamental, a technique now of bunting and slashing, then that time before interleague play where we get them to come out and practice, they can already have a foundation on what they might be asked to do, and then again, if it's before the playoffs and they're doing it again, they just build on that foundation.
Bobby, what's the progression trainers have set for Carl?
Wow. Carl is going to jump out of the box, it looks like. He's feeling great, and I told you yesterday that we were going to have him evaluated firsthand and set that schedule, and I don't know what it is. It's not this week. But
Not swinging.
he's not going to swing, as far as I know, this week. He's going to work, as he did yesterday. He's working on some timing, one-handed swing drills. He's throwing. He's going to work his base running. So that the swing, when the swing comes, I think he'll be able to jumpstart it, because he's doing a lot of things now.
Bobby, he said yesterday his expectation was to hopefully be ready for opening day.
Is that what he said?
Yes. Is that realistic?
Again, I hate to have the calendar dictate the health of a player. So, I mean, it seems realistic, I guess, if he's close to hitting, but we'll take it, as we all do.
I mentioned to Dice came in when you were broadcasting. You were critical of the Red Sox for turning Dice into a fastball slider pitcher, and that you thought he should have used all of his pitches. He said that was part of your conversation with him yesterday. Can you elaborate a little bit on how you would like to see him pitch once he's healthy?
I'd like to see him pitch effectively, and I don't want him to be someone else. I just want him to be himself. And I saw him pitch in Japan, and he had a very good changeup. And he explained to me yesterday that the ball really was a problem when he got here in having the feel for that changeup. And so because the pitch developed so late in his years, like it was the middle of his second year where he was kind of comfortable in throwing it, that it never got incorporated into his repertoire in the game. And I said, well, the ball's comfortable to you now. Let's, regroup and come back with a full arsenal. I don't want him to be a two-pitch pitcher. I don't want him to be a cutter, sinker pitcher. I don't think that's him. I don't want anybody to be anything that they're not. And he's no different.
A lot of attention's been given in the last day about new rules and new policies that you may be implementing. Can you talk about what specifically you plan to change and why?
I don't know. I don't know if there's specific things. I'll just adjust the situations as they move along. I don't know that there's any major changes down here. I mean, I talked about the, people riding the bus. I hear that they did it anyway. Everyone did it all the
Would that be mandatory?
No, I mean, mandatory, yeah, it'll be mandatory with exception, of course, Of course. I mean, mandatory, that's the way we're going to do it, of course. And if somebody needs to drive for a particular situation, of course we'll let, reason rule. Of course.
Bobby, Ben has talked about how you've done so many things and tried to implement and met with the staff and try to come up with a game plan for, what to do down here and everything else. Did it feel nice to get out there and to start it?
Yeah, it's great to be out there and not be talking about it, to see guys doing it, and we have a great group of athletes. This is very impressive to see. When John mentioned the defense wasn't good, it's not because they're not capable of playing defense. They're a very, very athletic group of pitchers, and they seem willing and able on day one to do everything that's necessary to improve their skills.
How important would it be to get at least 200 innings from
Yes.
your starters this year?
Every one of them, John. 200 innings. 6 of them. No, I don't need 6. 5. Again, saying a number. I taught one of our meetings with Daniel. With Daniel was that tell me about your expectations, Daniel. Well, I like to pitch 200 innings. Well, if he pitches 196, is he supposed to be disappointed? If he pitches 185 quality and misses 2 starts because we're going to rest him somewhere, is there something wrong with that? Effective innings, as often as possible.
In the old days, pitchers routinely would go 7, 8 innings in a game. Do you think pitchers are babies now?
I don't know if it's baby. I think that we understand that one of the great commodities that we have in the game of baseball are the arms of the pitchers, and we do everything in the game to try to protect them. That being said, I introduced Louis Tiant to the group today, and when I introduced him, I mentioned a game that I played in 19-something. I don't want to date myself too much, but he pitched the game in 1974. In this game, did I tell you about that? I told you earlier. You were there. Nolan Ryan struck out 19 guys and walked 10. Gave up about 8 hits, and he threw 235 pitches. He came out after 13 innings, and Louis went back out for the 14th. Huh? And he threw about 196 pitches and wound up getting a loss, I think, because the ball went through someone's legs. I don't think it was Remy. He was on our team. Maybe Doug Griffin? So, yeah. Oh, Remy's a good story. No, Remy was played against them. It was Dougie Griffin? I think it might have been. Yeah. So, but the amazing thing about that is what they did in their next 10 games, both Nolan and Louis. I'm not specific, but you guys have the ability to look it up. Nolan, I know, went 7-1 and had 6 or 7 no-hitters. He even pitched in relief in between 2 of his starts and had a 10-inning stint. And Louis was the same in the next 10.
10 innings, the next start.
The next start, I think he pitched 10 innings. Yeah. Remember that? I mean, so is it different? Yes. Are they babied? I don't know. I think they're protected. And I think it's right to protect them because it's a great commodity.
One of the criticisms of a modern athlete is that he might not be willing to take coaching on. As someone who's as hands-on as you are, do you ever run into that concern that there's going to be reticence or blowback?
Sure.
And how do you deal with that if so?
Gaining the respect and credibility that what you're trying to teach is actually for their benefit and not for mine. And sometimes that works. Yeah.
Bobby, when you're playing catch with dice game and you're stepping in to see what a pitcher has, is it all part of just learning these guys, even playing catch, or is that more just?
When I played catches, so the interpreter could go down with Randy Neiman, who was working on his mechanic and making sure that from day one that what Randy was looking for him to do was being communicated and executed. If there was somebody else there to catch, I would rather have somebody else catch. Yeah.
Bobby, Dice said that was the first time in his professional career a manager that played catch. How unusual was it for you to play catch?
I think I play catch with a lot of guys. Yeah. I don't think that's anything special for Dice. Well, maybe it was special for him, but I didn't do it because it was him to be special. Yeah.
I mean, no manager in Japan played catch with Dice.
He played for a great catcher over there, and I'm surprised he never played catch with him. But Ito was one of the great all-time catchers in Japan. And anyway, interesting.
He said he was a little nervous at first.
That I would miss the ball, right? Yeah.
Bobby, were you pleased with the pace of things today, or would you like to see even more sped up?
No, I thought that considering that we do have a lot of movement in the logistics of the field, I thought the pace was fine. I thought the repetitions were fine in number, and we finished 4 minutes ahead of time. So I think the pace was okay.
Were the smaller work groups kind of designed
Yes. Yeah, less standing and more reps. This is a shag-free camp, so that you're never going to see the outfielders standing and throwing balls back into the bucket. So being they don't have to stand out there and do nothing, they kind of work around here and do something.
Did you get a reaction from the players today?
No,
What they thought?
I didn't have time. I will try to. I bet I'll get feedback tomorrow. Yeah, we went in. We tried to do these meetings with Ben and Bob to talk to all the pitchers, and we did half of them yesterday. And before the other half got away, I went right in there and we started the meetings.
Buckley skated at 184, which is about 10 times less than it was last year. Up until this point, he always wanted to put on weight and get closer to 200. Is this the case you think that he's just kind of settled on this is what he is in terms of weight, or how do you see him?
I don't know him well enough to tell you. He looks like a lean, mean fight machine, right now. He looks in great condition. If he needs more weight to sustain the entire season, that's my guys in the nutritional training department, and I'm sure they'll advise him properly. He looks pretty good to me.
Bobby, Andrew Bailey was saying that he got to know you through charity work, and wonder if you could just expound on just getting to know him a little bit before you're coaching him now, and does that help you a little bit just knowing the personality?
I wish I'm still going to try to get to know him. I got to know his left-handed counterpart a little more, Breslow, who together they have that strike three foundation. And, seeing a guy handle himself in a situation off the field is, it's enlightening. It's, I think, beneficial. You have to take a long time to, I was with Uke at his event and got to kind of see him, do his thing with people, and I've seen Andrew do it a few times. Seen him speak at and heard him speak in, publicly at a microphone, and it's all kind of cool, But it's important what he does out here in the middle of the mound.
Was the play design a coincidence that Beckett, Lester, and Buckholz each in a different group in the rotation, as opposed to years past they'd always be together in the same group, rotating group? Is that by design?
It's Bob McClure's design. He made the groups, and he felt in the early session that all three of them were exhibiting some leadership qualities. So I wasn't surprised when I saw the groups. I didn't have to approve them or anything. Bob made the groups and put them into the plan.
Along those lines, is it by design with Bard's locker? Bard's locker's right in the middle of those guys. You have Beckett, Lester, Bard, Buckholz.
Well,
am I looking too much into it?
Yeah, again, you'd have to ask Tommy about the lockers. Yeah, or maybe Ben came in early and talked. I couldn't find guys in the locker room. Yeah.
Physically, did everybody come through okay?
Pretty much. You heard about Penentel, who has a lat situation from yesterday. That's going to keep him out of action for a while. Everybody else came through it really well.
How's Cook?
Cook says he's going to listen to the training room a little and be ready to go with everyone else.
Bobby, in terms of the pitcher's bunting, is that something you continue throughout camp?
I'm sorry, bro. What's that?
The pitcher's bunting? Would that be something you do throughout camp, maybe
No.
into the season at all, or just
No. They'll be early and sporadic, and then we'll have times during the camp where they'll be like just refresher courses. Yeah. But it's not it won't be an everyday part of our routine. Again, it's just to establish the foundation.
Bobby, I just wanted to clarify. You said when you were watching the World Series, that's when you thought of that?
Yeah.
So at the time, obviously, you're not managing anybody, but in your mind, you were thinking, if I become a manager again, this is one of the things I'm going to have my guys do.
Yeah. Yeah. That, and when I talked to Ron Washington the next day and I asked him how many times he had used the wheel play during the season, and he said that was the first time. is when I decided that I'll make sure that we practice the wheel play and execute it during the season to try to be a little more proficient at it in the 6th game of the World Series.
That means you just gave it away to the opponent.
The wheel play. It's on.
Sign and everything.
Yeah.
That's a sign for everything.
That's a sign.
Bobby, why do PFPs begin and end with spring training?
I don't think it should, and I don't think it will. If you have a proper foundation here for these things, pitchers, fundamentals, it's kind of like small ball. Small ball is just baseball, right? Pitchers, fundamentals, it's just baseball. It should be part and parcel to the fabric of the game. I mean, why should a kid and his father come to a game and see a pitcher throw a bunt down the left field line because he's not proficient at fielding a bunt when the father's told the kid, get off the mound and field the bunt, throw it first. It's part and parcel. I think it's as much a part of the game, covering first and fielding your position and turning to and comebackers is as much a part of the game as hitting the home run. It's got to be, because it's been there forever and it counts.
Did you talk to Jim Leyland about what happened to his Tigers, whatever World Series that was, a couple of years ago?
Oh, with pitchers fielding.
Yeah. Right.
Another great example. I was almost going to put that up, but I didn't put up any bad stuff, thinking that they may think that's the way I want them to do it.
Bobby, how do you feel about infield during the season?
We'll move forward on that one. Well, it'll be discussed. I don't know that we're going to take infield. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind there, being that slot in the day's activity. I just haven't quite figured that out yet.
Did you always do it before?
No, not always. No, I think we were one of the last teams to do it, though, the Mets. Yeah, and we didn't do it all the time. Mm-hmm. We would do it first day in a road trip, I guess, and maybe PFP's second day in on a homestand, something.
You think it's important?
Yes. Not that infield's important. The dance step of infield's important. The working together of defensive play is important. I don't know that we're going to take infield. That's to be determined.
Do you think a lot of that stuff, Bobby, today is viewed by players sometimes as punishment for not doing it correctly as opposed to a drill that reinforces the way it should be done?
Again, I hate to paint everyone with one brush and say this is what players think. I don't know what players think. That's why I want to get to know my team. I want to get to know these guys that I have here and figure out what they would think of it. If they think of it as punishment, then why do it? It's not about punishment. It's about reward. That they have a chance of getting a great reward by doing it right and looking good, being successful and winning another game. It's reward, not reprimand.
Bobby, can you talk a little bit about Andrew Bailey and him taking over for Papelbon and what he brings to the closing role?
I'm still trying to get to know him, so I don't want to speak in any glowing terms because all I can tell you is work ethic is very good. What I've seen him on film is exactly what we need, and his statistics are fine. But I have to see before I can really tell you what I think of him.
Hey, Bobby, was there any moment today, very, very fast, where you reflected and said, man, it's good to be doing this?
That it's what?
Good to be doing this again.
Absolutely. I said it at 4 o'clock this morning. I said it. I said it. I said it all day. Yeah. For me personally, yeah, I said it.
What did you see that Tazawa?
Tazawa's, I think he's probably been throwing more than the other guys because his command is impeccable already. and it's very early to be able to be hitting the spots like he is. But it's good that he's doing it. Yeah. We'll see if he can maintain. But he's healthy, and he looks very determined.
Check out that Padilla Ephus pitch.
Yeah, we talked to him about it too.
Don't see that very often.
No, and he says he, he's got a plan. He's a pretty veteran guy, and he says it's going to be part of his arsenal, possibly with men on base too, and, which is my concern. It's a little concern, but he says he can work it in the right spots, and we'll see. He's an interesting guy. He is interesting.
Show me film clip of Bill Lee throwing the Ephus to Tony Perez.
Right? That was at Fenway too. Right? Yeah.
Bobby, in evaluating a team's defense, this kind of gets to yesterday's question of enlightenment, but is there a statistic that you look at as a starting point for figuring out the quality of a team's defense?
Okay, I've been given defensive advanced metrics, and I haven't tried to figure out whether or not they are proper. It's just that they are. I mean, they do tell a story. They might be off a little, but ours, our story's pretty easy to tell. Defensive metrics. Where we were in standings, and how many balls we caught, and how many DPs we turned, and compared to the other fly ball strikeout staffs in the league, where we in baseball, how we fared. I think statistics, when you look back, are a good way of telling you what happened, and if you could compare them to something, then I think they're very valuable. And there's 29 other teams, to compare it to.
All set?
Thanks,
Yeah.
you remember in '61, Marichal and Spawn?
Marichal and Spawn, 16 innings. That's right, 61.
27 minutes in all set.
Who was that home run winner?
I've heard Spawny say who the frig it was. I should know. It was Willie Mays, exactly. That's when he stole it, when Willie Mays is in the room. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, it was a good day. We haven't met.
Introduce myself, Jenny Dow.
Hi, Jen.
Very nice to meet you.
Welcome aboard. Good to meet you.
I spoke with Terry